Here to take some footage for an Olympic promo for News 9 and also doing a little footage for Wheatridge as well here.
Have you ever been on TV before?
Not to my knowledge.
Never on a cop show or anything?
No, never intentionally. How's that? I'm going to be riding the rollers while they get some footage in front of a screen in which they'll edit in some London stuff. It should be pretty neat.
You nervous?
Not so much. Haven't ridden the rollers too much. It's not roller season, but we'll see. We'll see. I can only fall so far.
Wherever your starting point is, the bike's facing head on from the camera. So basically you're looking at the front of the tire, and then...
So we need to change that? We need to turn
turn that, so then the camera comes around, and then we're looking at, you know, whatever, 30 degrees on the bike, so...
We're going to take this footage, and of course you see it being shot over blue, and we're going to take that blue inside of After Effects and pull a chroma key off of it so that the background can be replaced with computer graphics and the green tracking points that you see
Ryan working
on. We will use some 3D camera tracking software to have the camera mimic inside of those programs the camera that Johnny's actually swinging around on this track.
It's kind of weird facing into the screen back there, not having a point of reference and just having to float on the rollers and just kind of trust to faith. But it was fun, man. It was real fun.
Basically our concept was to create these different scenes where we'd see an athlete somehow interacting with the city of London. So one of the things that we did was to take footage of a cyclist that we shot and to turn the front wheel of the bike into the London Eye. So I'm going to kind of show how we did that. In Studio B here at 9 News, we filmed Joe on the bike, on his bike trainer, over this blue curtain. So what we did was we set up a track and did kind of this orbital move. And that was kind of the main shot we were going to try to achieve. And then later we wanted to replace this front wheel with the London Eye. And basically from here, what we did here was using motion tracking software, we basically matched up all these pieces of green tape into Cinema 4D, and they became all these little points in 3D space, and that allowed us to create a virtual camera that moved in the same exact way as the actual camera. So as I scrub through this, it's doing that same orbital move that we actually filmed. So the next step was to bring a model of the London Eye into our scene in Cinema 4D. The camera kind of swivels around the London Eye like so. And then I'll show you that kind of mixed in with the footage that we shot. We had to pretty much lose the front wheel and the bike trainer and all this stuff that came in behind him. So basically we have our footage that's all keyed out, and I kind of sped it up as it turned and threw in like a motion blur, and here it is, the model of the London Eye. And so they move together like so. Okay, the final phase was to basically bring in a background for the scene, which is the city, the river, since the London Eye is right on the edge of the Thames River, and a sky in the background, basically just finishing out the scene. I threw in a layer that was just the shadows of the London Eye to make it feel like it was actually part of the scene. Another layer is our final layer of the cyclist and the model of the London Eye. A few more layers that make up the city. We have some layers that give it kind of a bright outdoor light kind of feel. And then one more layer of the cyclist, so he pops out a little bit over the daylight. And then a tiny little layer at the top of some clouds to kind of make it look like he's kind of getting lost up in the stratosphere. So that is pretty much how the scene all came together. Basically, that's it. kind of all the stages and steps that we went through to end up with this result. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It was pretty challenging. It was a good team effort too, and I learned a lot, and I hope that we get to do more stuff like this in the future.